Hello, welcome back to the Road to Episode 7, my ongoing series where I chart the road to release of Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens on December 16th, 17th and 18th, 2015, depending on where you are in the world. Today, I'm going to talk about comments that Kathleen Kennedy made recently, I think last week, about the focus of the new trilogy, and basically I'm going to talk about the Skywalker Saga. She mentioned how George Lucas was at her beck and call for like 6 months. She picked his brains about what Star Wars is all about, his original ideas, and all that kind of stuff. And she kind of clarified where things would be going. And, you know, it's nothing that we don't know already. Obviously, you know, well, not obviously, but I mean, you'd think that, you know, the Skywalker family story would be continued with Episodes 7, 8, and 9. And then obviously the spin-off films are the spin-off films. They're different stories from around different time periods and, you know, featuring different characters and things like that. And I guess we know that at least the 2 spin-off films that have been confirmed now and are being made are prequel films in a way. Well, I guess you shouldn't really see them as prequels, but they take place before events of certain films and that kind of thing. Anyway, I guess you could say they're sequels to the prequel trilogy. I don't know, I guess all confusing, but she has labelled them and talked about them, and again we know this as... well, they're called Star Wars stories now, the spin-off films. Rogue One, a Star Wars story, but it is also known as an anthology film. And that was originally part of the subtitle. It was Rogue One, Star Wars Anthology. Now it's a Star Wars story, and it is a part of the anthology series, I suppose. Whereas the episodes are now being labelled as the Saga films. And so, much the way as kind of, you know, characters like Luke and Leia and Han, or the actors that play them in, you know, Episode 7 are being referred to as legacy characters, you know, which I think Carrie Fisher said was kind of, you know, one way of saying just, you know, old, basically. But yeah, so the episodes, you know, Episode 1 through 9 will be now known as kind of all, you know, labelled and compartmentalized into the Saga films as opposed to the anthology films. I guess it's a good way of separating them, but also she said that the focus of the sequel trilogy and the whole Saga series in general is the Skywalker family story, which is really exciting news to confirm, because again we had kind of an inkling of that in the last trailer. You know, the Force is strong in my family, I have it, my sister has it, my father has it, you have that power too. I mean, that could have been Luke referring to someone new, you know, as opposed to someone in his family. But yeah, the kind of the hint that we're getting here is that one of the young people in The Force Awakens will be, you know, a Skywalker, basically. So we don't know what Finn's second name is, we don't know what Rey's second name is, we don't know where Kylo comes from, so is one of them a Skywalker? And I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion now that one of them definitely is. Now Finn you can kind of rule out because of his ethnicity. I mean, obviously, a few weeks ago I joked that, you know, hey, maybe Luke got it on with a black woman, but then obviously he'd have to be half caste, and so we can kind of rule Finn out of that. But what I think, and what I'm putting my money on, and also my preference on, as it will turn out that Rey is Luke Skywalker's daughter. Now you could even go to, I mean, I've said many months ago on this series that, wow. I don't know if you've ever seen a cat clean its arsehole and then lift its head up with its mouth open like that, because it's so disgusted with the smell it just found. My cat just did that, and I saw it in the mirror, and that distracted me. I'm sorry, what can I say, I'm only human. Yeah, I said many months back that I really want, well, I don't really want, but it'd be really cool if Rey was, you know, Luke's daughter, and that Kylo was his son as well, and that they were brother and sister. So we have Kylo Ren and Rey being kind of 2 opposite ends of the spectrum of the Force. You know, they're both the offspring of, you know, a very powerful Jedi and a very powerful Jedi family that have gone on to kind of be the two kind of the yin and yang of the new, you know, sequel trilogy in terms of the dark side and the light side of the Force. Now, I could see even going where Kylo is Han and Leia's son, you know, Kylo Solo. I never thought about that, actually. That kind of goes quite well. Again, I thought that maybe because Kira was a name that was attached to Daisy Ridler's character, and you could almost put Kira Rey, Kylo Ren, sounds very similar, kind of a brother and sister. We now know that Ren is not Kylo's name, it's his title as part of the Knights of Ren, so the only thing we know about him is his name is Kylo. So, I don't know, if he is kind of, maybe you could have Kylo as Han and Leia's son, Rey as Luke's daughter, And again, the light side and the dark side, and they're cousins. There's a family element there. I mean, I don't know. There's so many ways you could put it, and you could even take that all out of it. But I really do think that Rey might be Luke's daughter. Now, I have a spoiler, and it'll last no longer than 30 seconds. So if you want to turn away, turn off, or skip forward, please do that now. A guy who dropped the name of Jakku, the planet named Jakku, before it was ever announced, has said online, Rey is Luke's daughter. And this has come from someone who has gotten something very specific, very right. That's all I'm going to say. So yeah, exciting stuff. And for me, I think, you know, well, it could go either way. Maybe Rey is Han and Leia's daughter, and she is a Skywalker. Maybe Leia and Han didn't get married. Maybe they got married, and Leia wanted to keep the Skywalker name, you know, and thus, you know, they could give birth to you know, another Skywalker. But then again, maybe Leia wants to keep Organa as a name. Maybe she wants to take Solo on as the last name. We don't know any of this stuff. So lots of possibilities, but I'm very excited about there being this generational Skywalker story. And there's a picture online that's really, really cool of Anakin, Luke, and Rey all in kind of a desert planet background with kind of vaguely similar kind of shots, and I'll put that on screen now. I think that's really cool and definitely could be an interesting way to take things. And for me, I just really think it'll be really cool to see a woman be the lead Jedi of the trilogy. I think it'd be really cool. And also, if it is true, and if Rey is the next Skywalker, is Luke's daughter, you know, you could imagine this whole backstory where maybe like Luke met a woman, gave birth to a daughter, and then things went wrong. Maybe the mother got killed in some kind of force accident, just the power of it or something. And Luke thought, "What might, you know, I have to be away from this," and so he leaves his daughter on Jakku with someone to look after her because it's best for her and all that kind of thing. And he goes off into hiding, and you know, he's kind of second guessing his own powers and stuff. I think that'd be really cool. Anyway. Yeah, if it turns out to be true that Rey is Luke's daughter, I have to just give Lucasfilm a round of applause for that initial cast picture they posted last year, where you had the whole cast and everything, and it was like, oh my god, Luke's in it, Han's in it, Harrison Ford's back, and Daisy Ridley was sat between Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher, and it just looked like she was their daughter, basically. It still could happen. It still could happen, but you know, you just don't know where they're going with it or how they're going to kind of play it out and things like that. There's still very much a mystery surrounding a lot of the young characters in the film anyway. So again, we'll have to see where it progresses and you know, throughout the sequel trilogy, and what we'll find out in episode 7. Maybe we won't even know that Rey's Luke's daughter until like episode 9 or something. I mean, it could be left a mystery for years. We just don't know. And my cat is now crying, but yeah, lots of possibilities. Very exciting stuff. And yeah, I mean, you could see Rey being Leia's daughter because you look at Natalie Portman, Carrie Fisher, Daisy Ridley, very similar looking women, you know, around that age, you know, throughout the history of the trilogies. And I could even see them going and doing episode 10, 11 and 12 in like 10, 15 years time, and just having another generation of Skywalkers. I think that'd be really cool. You know, it definitely would be something interesting and just kind of an ongoing thing, like almost like James Bond in a way, where you can recast, you know, well, not recast, but you know, cast new people as the next generation of the Skywalkers and things like that. But then again, it all still goes back to me thinking, Return of the Jedi was such a perfect ending. Did they really need? I mean, to me, it almost just feels like that was when the balance to the Force was restored. Luke was the last Jedi. It was so perfect, and now they're doing more. But you know, it's more Star Wars. Who am I to complain about it? So yeah, sorry about my cat crying in the background. I promised I'd do a review in every video, so this will be my review, and it's something a little bit different. And I'll just turn the camera off and I'll get back to it and explain in a second. Alright, so the review for this episode, back on May 4th this year, Star Wars Day, I watched, instead of watching the original trilogy, which I did last year on Star Wars Day, I watched the original trilogy, but the Filmumentary version of them, and like was kind of making videos as I did it, but then I didn't finish it. So I might go back to that footage and kind of put it together and put it as one of these Road to Episode 7 videos in the next like month or two. I just need to, I can't remember what I said in them or anything like that. I went fairly in depth, I think, talking about the Filmumentaries, which I'll be briefly reviewing here in about a minute or two. Well, it'll take about a minute or two. Basically, a Filmumentary is kind of this original kind of form of documentary that a guy called Jamie Benning created, I think in the late 2000s. He first released The Empire Strikes Back under the name of Building Empire, and then I think a year after that he did Return the Jedi, and he called it Returning to Jedi. and then he finished off his little Filmumentary trilogy with Star Wars Begins. So he's done the whole original trilogy, he's not doing the prequels, and I think after that he did Raiding the Lost Ark, he did the Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he did Inside Jaws. And he's been working on trying to get an official version of his Filmumentary concept to be made, and I think he even had a meeting a couple of days ago at an actual film studio. I know he's kind of been going back and forth over the past couple of years trying to get it done in an official capacity, but hopefully he will, because it's a really cool idea. Basically, it's the whole film, you watch the whole film, and you have what we all know as commentary, but also text kind of trivia, which again we've seen on Blu-rays and DVDs before, but also he includes pictures and images, pictures slash images and video, so like deleted scenes or behind the scenes footage, and it all kind of slots in really nicely chronologically. So you'll see like a scene on the Death Star in Star Wars, and then during that particular scene then you'll see it overlaid kind of behind the scenes shot, like making of kind of thing. And he's culled it from all sorts of different sources, and the commentary is from archival interviews, so you get like thoughts from people who haven't done commentaries for Star Wars and things like that, and it's just really like ridiculously in-depth, and like all sorts of like alternate credits, things like that, just anything you can think of basically that you've seen behind the scenes in Star Wars and then more is what he includes in these kind of filmumentaries. Highly recommend you check him out. You can go see him for free. They're still up on his Vimeo page. I'll leave a link to that in the description of this video. I don't know if they'll be taken down. I know they got taken down from YouTube at one point, so get them while you can. Download them from Vimeo. They're definitely worth watching if you're a Star Wars fan. I guarantee if you haven't seen these, at least there's something in these filmumentaries that you've not seen before in terms of behind the scenes stuff, and yeah, just really great. And I guess my favourite would probably be the first one, because it's my favourite Star Wars film. So that's it. I'll try and piece together what I filmed on May the 4th. Maybe I can kind of I don't know, kind of add a bit onto it and then kind of post that in a more kind of full form. But that's my review for this episode, is the Filmumentary Trilogy. Definitely go check them out. And that's about it really. The Star Wars Battlefront game, which I've kind of been not really excited about. I didn't play the old Battlefront games or anything, but because it's the new Star Wars game and they've got a level from Jakku from episode 7, I am getting kind of interested in maybe getting it. But also they're releasing the beta this week, so anyone around the world can kind of check it out basically and kind of test run it online. So I'll probably be doing that and talking about that in a video at some point in the next week or so. So there you go. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
I don't know, Pod Second.